So we
I can speak and everything else.
Speak and think.
I can walk. Yeah.
And motor mouth.
Oh, yeah. We can motor mouth. Absolutely.
Yeah, we do that. So we are motor mouths, which means we are mechanics who like to talk about cars. And the whole point of this show is to talk with you about your car. So we're a live call-in car talk show, and we'd like you to, if you have a car story or a car question or a tip or some sort of home remedy, something you're working on at home or something you got a warning light on or you're perplexed about or you need some help with, if you're having a relationship issue that you can relate to your car, then we'll put you on the Motor Mouth couch. So give us a call, 543-8830. That's 543-8830. And if you're the first caller, then we're going to give you a premium. So you'll get a prize at Continental Motor Works. So give us a call, 543-8830. Our topics today are some of the stuff we talked about last week, which is called other stuff.
Other stuff.
Other stuff.
I have a question of other stuff.
Yeah, okay.
My son-in-law bought a diesel truck, a small diesel truck, and he wants to buy some fuel cans, or diesel fuel cans. Mm-hmm. And the question is, he says the cans are galvanized on the inside. And he was wondering if the galvanization or the cans have anything to do with the fuel.
So you're talking about treatment. He's putting in.
No. The cans are galvanized.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the question is there a problem with having a galvanized internally galvanized can for carrying diesel?
Oh, so he's carrying extra diesel in the back of his truck. I see. Gee, I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah. I mean, I never heard about that before. But
is the can meant to carry gas?
Well, yes.
Okay.
But it's gas cans, but there's gas and diesel, so there might be a difference.
I
mean, there are probably some people out there that knows about this because he evidently heard.
If it's meant to carry gas.
Huh?
I think if it's meant to carry gas, then it should be okay.
Yeah, I would think so. But
okay, well, let's put it out there to the people out there. Anybody have an opinion out there? Call us at 543-8830. Hey, let's talk John from Paso. Hey, good morning, John.
Yeah, good morning, Motor Mouth. I have a question. I have a Lexus GS 350, 2016 model. It has the B6 with an 8-speed transmission. It has the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. And my question is, by using those paddle shifters, when you shift down, the RPMs of the engine go up. And I'm wondering, is it better to do that to avoid braking, or am I using more fuel because of the higher RPMs when I do use the downshifting?
We are believers in downshifting. We've always talked about it. So I think that it's two things going on. Number one, that's the way your transmission and your car was meant to drive, so use it. And we always say use it or lose it. So the more that you're using all the different parts of your car, whether it be the different gears in your transmission or the paddle shifters or the electronics, the better it is consistently using those things. So number one, that's good. Number two, that's the way it's meant to do. You're driving your car. You're not going to wear your transmission out. You should be getting, if you're doing it properly, then you're not over revving or over lugging. So that's the way it's meant to drive.
Especially going downhill. It's important that you take a downshift. Or driving in city traffic. With all those gears, and if you are in very high gear, and you're driving in city traffic at 35 miles an hour, your car is going to idle faster than 35 miles an hour. So it's very important that you drop it down a gear then. For example, coming down Cresta Grade into San Luis Obispo, if you take the car out of overdrive at the top of the hill, you can hang on the engine at 65 miles an hour without touching the brakes all the way down. So, by other words, that's the way I drive. I got 110,000 miles on the first set of brakes, and I didn't actually have to do them then, but I did them anyway. So, and my transmission is good. You need to change oils in the transmission when the time comes up, but So what?
John, how mmany gears do you have?
12, he said. No, he had 8.
There's 8 speeds.
Yeah, it's a lot of speeds.
That's a lot of speeds.
It's a lot of speeds to deal with, you know. So it takes a little bit if you're going to be using the paddle shifters. I think it's an acquired skill to know where to be. I mean, I'm used to 4 or 5 speeds. 8 speeds, I think, takes a little bit more driver training. You know, I think it takes a little bit more of a learning curve. How do you like the 8 speeds?
What I do when I do go down the grade is I like to try to stay, at a speed under 65 miles an hour, but I have to keep downshifting to maintain that.
Yes, right, exactly.
And that's okay.
And every time I downshift, then the RPMs
goes up.
It'll go up to 4,000 to 5,000.
Yeah.
Just to get to the next lower speed.
Yeah, that's okay. So, but the thing is that, I used to take get a car. I got some information about the engine and the engine speed and what is the best, the maximum torque that comes out of the engine at what is the maximum torque speed. But whether it's on the 6-cylinder engine, usually that is around 28 to 32,000 RPMs. And I can remember driving my pickup truck pulling a trailer. I always tried to keep it at that, 3,000, 3,200, because that was the best torque. That was the best, get the best out of the engine at that speed. And so your car, you can find out what the best torque is speed, and then you can use your shifters to keep the car at that.
You know what I like about having downshifting and, whether you call it a manual transmission or an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters or whatever, but it really keeps you engaged in your driving.
Yeah, right.
More than, when you have an automatic and you're just driving along, you kind of fall asleep. I mean, you don't fall asleep, but you kind of go on automatic when you're driving, and you kind of get lulled into it. I am a big believer in intentional driving, being engaged 100%. You're not thinking about where you're going. You're not thinking about whatever problems you have in your life. You're totally into your driving, and you're doing the best you can at your driving. Yeah. And when you're shifting, it forces you to be 100% engaged in your driving. I like that. So technically I'm using more fuel when I downshift. Yeah, I mean, but you're talking about a minimal difference. I guess, John, you need to decide, what's more important. What's your goal of driving and the longevity of your car and all of that? Is it, and maybe you could do an experiment with what you're talking about. Maybe you could go for a week, fill your tank, measure your gas mileage with the same driving. And then 1 week, don't do that downshifting. Just drive and keep it in the gears and use your brakes more and see what the kind of gas mileage you get. And then the next week, downshift like we're talking about, keeping yourself at the speed limits and see what the difference is. I'm betting you're talking 2%. Less than 5%, I bet.
But why should they use more gas because it downshifts?
Well, because you're revving the engine up higher.
Yeah, but you're not revving the engine by giving it fuel.
True.
Yeah. So, in other words, the engine is not taking it.
But it is working a little harder. It's going up higher RPM. So,
yes, but when you drive a car, you give the fuel to the engine in order to increase the RPMs on the engine. But if you downshift, you're not giving it any fuel.
Yeah. I think you're going to have varying opinions on this. I think this is an interesting question, and I think it depends who you talk to. I think our opinion is I like shifting to keep yourself at the speed that you want to be at. And I think I like doing it in town, too. I like when I'm going down Johnson Avenue and I want to stay around 35 miles an hour, I downshift.
Yeah.
Because it's too hard to stay at 35 miles an hour when you're in overdrive.
Right.
And so I like doing it in town. I like doing it up and down the grade, or whenever you're going downhill, or if you're slowing down, you're near the beach and you got a lot of traffic or whatever, and you keep you going. If you have to go 20 miles an hour to keep your distance from the car in front of you, I like that kind of driving. I think that's the right way to drive.
I use it all the time. In town, on the highways, I like to use it.
Yeah,
so.
Good.
So I think it's the right way to drive, and I think you're going to have varying opinions on this.
Yes. We might have somebody else have an opinion on this.
And so, John, you change the key to keeping your transmission in good shape is change all those fluids. That when you get to 60,000 miles, coolant, trans fluid, brake fluid, power steering. I don't think you're going to have power steering. I think it probably has electric power steering. I'm not sure, but
okay.
All right. Very well.
Enjoy that car. And you're the first caller, by the way. Stop by Continental Motor Works, and we'll give you a premium.
Very good. Thanks so much.
Thanks for being a part of the show, John.
Okay, we got Brent on the line.
Have a good weekend. Let's go to Brent in Morro Bay. Hi, Brent.
How are you guys doing?
We're good. Wonderful. How are you?
So we're talking diesel tanks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The son-in-law, they no gas, no fuel cans. Stay away from them totally.
Okay, so why?
Well, I have a bunch of diesel equipment and trucks, and the thing that the biggest problem with diesels and diesel fuel is when you go to fuel cans, they just seem to pick up contaminates, dirt, dust sticks to the to wherever the diesel is. You try to keep it clean, and I don't have fuel problems. I get my fuel delivered, and then I pump it out to a filter, and then it goes into tanks like in the back of the truck.
Yes.
And then they have an electric pump and a filter also.
Yeah.
So I find that guys that use jerry cans, galvanized or not, have problems.
Okay.
Because the biggest problem is contamination.
Yeah.
And I know they make, for trucks, if that's, he wants extra fuel, it'd be much better to go to, they have transfer tanks or bed tanks, either one.
Yeah.
And stay away from the jerry can system altogether. It just always creates problems just because diesel, unlike gas, is so sticky that dust and stuff just gets stuck in the little thing. And every time you open it, you try to clean it, a little bit gets in each time, and then all of a sudden it's in your filters, and you have problems.
But the fact that he was asking about the cans because they had
galvanized.
The galvanization on the inside, and he had heard that the galvanization was bad for diesel.
Yeah, but when you talked about it, my first thought was just stay away from the jerry cans altogether.
Yeah, right. I agree with you. Okay, I'll tell him that.
From it, galvanized or not. I don't think galvanized is really going to hurt it. Diesel, but I'd say what I've seen, guys like the other guys in my yards that they running jerry cans and stuff like that, they have fuel problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Sucking in moisture.
They have the tendency to get old too. And sit there. They sit there for a month or two, and then you might get some separation.
Well, you get water, and then also diesel. The water in diesel, little fine amounts of water will also pick up algae grows in diesel when it sits for a long time, or can. Right. And that's a whole other problem. Again, jerry cans
so get a proper.
Stay away from them because contamination is one of the biggest problems.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell them that, and I appreciate you very much that you called.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Hey, voice of experience. That's why we put it out to the Motor Mouth show. So it sounds like he needs if he wants to have storage of diesel, he gets a proper storage tank that's meant for diesel with a filter.
Yeah. I don't know why he bought some cans, but, I
mean, the tanks are big on those anyhow, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. This is one of the new GMC small diesels, small pickup trucks, but it's got a 4-cylinder diesel in it. Mm-hmm. He likes the vehicle. It gets real good diesel mileage.
Yeah.
And he comes down here and visit me with my daughter, once in a while.
So you can have a tank put on the bed.
Well, you can also hang special fuel tanks that you fill up. Yeah. At the same time as you fill up,
adds more weight to the vehicle, so it's going to lower your gas mileage.
Yeah, right.
So you might be defeating the purpose of everything you want. Yeah.
So we go for a break?
Yeah. So we're the Motor Mouse. We're Matt and Jeff. We are here to talk with you about your car. And so far, we've had John call from Paso about his Lexus. Brent call from Morro Bay with some expert diesel advice, which we appreciate. And we're hoping you're going to call us 543-8830. That's 543-8830. Anything about cars or Motor Mouse are in until 9 a.m., and we'll be back.
I got a classic commercial here from 1959. It is for the Car of the Year. from 1959. Here we go.
Car of the year. The news is out about the Pontiac. Car of the year is the Pontiac. That is the car with the wide track wheels.
It's a real riding sensation, this new Pontiac, the only car with wide track wheels, which widen the stance, not the car itself. Wide track wheels adhere when you steer. I mean, cling to the thing so that every curve is a turn for the better. That's just one of the reasons why Motor Trend magazine has named Pontiac Car of the Year. By the wide margin of its wide track wheels, sterling performance, and live looks, Pontiac stacks up as the automotive success of the season. So why not take the wide track that leads to Pontiac?
Wide track Pontiac. Car of the year.
When it's time to service your car,
Or a warning light is starting to glow.
go see the pros at Absolute Auto.
At the corner of Sacramento and Capitolio.
Having a problem with the brakes or the steering down below?
Or an alignment to adjust the tow.
Computer systems, they do know.
Call 543-8737 to reach Absolute Auto.
Here's some inside information to get your gas mileage back. Inside your engine, carbon builds up, clogging the injectors and combustion area. If you want your fuel system cleaned in just one tank of fuel, use what the inside car guys use most. It's called BG44K. In fact, service managers use it almost 3-to-1 over any other fuel system cleaner. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
BG.
Hi, this is Jeff Spevack, Motormouth co-host and owner of Continental Motorworks. What can you expect here at Continental? We will treat you and your car with care and respect and gratitude. We will bend over backwards to earn your trust. You will fully understand what we are doing on your car and know how much it will cost before we do the work. You will always get value, a fair exchange. You work hard for your money. We believe we should work smarter and harder for what you pay us for. Now in our 36th year, we fix it all. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and hybrids.
Call Jeff at Continental Motorworks at 541-1464. Mention this ad and receive 10% off labor.
With some spooky Halloween music and spooky motor mouth. We're spooky today.
Let's go back in time here. We just talked about the commercial of 59 Pontiac.
Yeah.
Well, I was working for Todd, a lineman shop here in town, in 59. Mm-hmm. And those cars came out, and we found out the rear tires were wearing out too fast. And then we started checking the alignment. We didn't check the alignment on the rear tires except if the car had been in the accident before. Mm-hmm. We do it now, but not then. And found out that because of the wide track, they put more toe out on the rear end so that when you accelerated, of course, the torque was coming off the rear wheels and they would pull forward and pull in. Well, they had too much toe out. And that would wear the left rear tire on the inside, see. Mm. And so then we did about 30 or 40 of those cars, straightened the rear axle.
Wow.
So that the torque of them would be right.
And how did you do that?
Well, we had the special tools that we hooked onto the differentials. Mm-hmm. And of course, at that time, the differential was all stamped steel differentials. Today, they use cast iron and pipe. And today's differentials you can't straighten, but on those you can. Mm-hmm. So we put it, and sometimes they put a strap on the backside so that the torque of the big engine, they had big engines in them.
Kind of like doing body work.
No, this is all suspension work, man. Yeah.
No, but I mean, you're straightening a frame, kind of.
Well, yes.
It's kind of like straightening a frame.
Yeah. We had to straighten the rear ends. I still have the tools, special tools. We made a special tool to do that.
Wow.
And I still have some. Ratliff made them for me, I remember.
Yeah.
50. Well, I didn't make mine. I made mine later. 61.
Okay.
But anyway, those are nice cars. And then I met one from Canada.
Yeah.
Came down from Canada and for wheel alignment. I opened the hood, and in the hood was a small 6-cylinder, very narrow 6-cylinder little engine. It had so much room in the engine compartment, I could crawl in there and sit in there and work on it.
You open one of these old cars' hoods, and you can't. It's just astounding how much room.
Yeah.
Just open air is in there. You just don't have that anymore.
Yeah, no.
Everything's packed. I mean, just packed. You can't even see. I opened a hood the other day on a BMW, trying to see a fluid leak. You can't see anything.
No.
You can't. You got to get it up in the air. You got to take upper covers off. You got to take lower covers off. It's packed in there like sardines.
We had a car in the shop at the school last week, and I asked my TA, my teacher is a mechanic. He's an old-time mechanic. I said, "How do you work on that?" They had a big intake manifold going in towards the back. It was a V6 engine. Mm-hmm. He said, "You got to take that manifold off in order to get the spark plugs on the back side of it."
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yep. There's some good designs out there. Hey, we're the Motor Mouse. We're Matt and Jeff. We are talking about cars, and we were hoping to talk with you about cars. And the way that works is we're a live call-in car talk show. You can call us at 543-8830, 543-8830. We've had John call from Paso about his Lexus GS350, and Brett call from Morro Bay talking about storing diesel fuel. Yeah. And so we're talking a little bit about our topic from last week was other stuff. For over the last 25 or more years, we've talked about, engines, transmissions, brakes, tires, electrical, check engine lights. So we're going to talk about all the peripheral stuff on your car, like mirrors and windshields and instruments and hoods and trunks and pedals and lenses. So okay, let's go to tailgates. Let's talk a little bit about tailgates. So a lot of cars are hatchbacks now or SUVs, and they have tailgates, where you open the latch and the thing springs up on these shocks.
Yes.
So number one, that's the
gas
number one
shocks.
problem. These gas struts or gas shocks wear out, and just like, your front hood maybe doesn't stay up anymore and bangs you in the head. Well, we always worry about that as mechanics. Is this going to, you take a hood up and you go, is this going to stay up?
Yeah, right.
Or is it going to bang? Or is it going to bang me in the head in the next 10 seconds?
You always have the broom handle handy.
Yeah. So the same thing with those, and so that's a real common thing is replacing those. The other thing that happens with tailgates is they just get slammed a lot. So and there's stuff inside of that tailgate, like there's lights and there's windshield wipers and there's windshield washers and there's different stuff back there, and so that'll tend to start getting messed up. So we see, you do bulbs, you do taillights and things like that, but we see sometimes that the lock gets loose in there because of slamming it a lot, or the windshield washer gets knocked loose, or so we have to take the panel off, kind of like you would a door panel.
Yeah.
And you usually, a lot of times, you just put it back together. Sometimes things break back there. So
also at the hinges on top where the wires comes through, sometimes those wires are being bent back and forth all the time, and sometimes they will break.
That's right.
And especially if you take and put something in the door, in the trunk or in the back of the car that doesn't fit quite right, and it starts rubbing against that. Those wires are not big.
Yeah,
they're very, very, very thin wires.
Yep. And that does happen quite a bit. Or sometimes if you have an electrical problem, the wires get overheated in that, because that's where they bend.
Yeah.
And so that is a common thing. And those are hard. That's hard to fix, because you have to take that whole harness out. You have to take it out, and then you have to take it apart. And if you're not going to replace the whole harness and you're going to repair it, the right thing to do is to cut those sections of wire out and then resolder in new wires.
We just did that one last week at school. We had a broken wire back there, and so his latch didn't work. So you could take and open the lid from the driver's seat. That didn't work, and it was the broken wire, so we had to take and solder in a section, about a 3-4 inch section right there, and then use the shrink tubing on top of it, and turned out to be a nice job.
So that's the right way to repair wiring. A lot of people at home, or you see what's called these butt connectors, where you crimp connectors on there. And the problem with that is, number one, you can't make that bend in that tailgate. It'll just break again. Number two, it creates more resistance in that wire when you don't have a proper connection. When you solder in and shrink wrap and all of that, you're recreating a factory, the best method of wiring. And so that's the same thing with battery cable ends. You see a lot of people put those bolt-in battery cable ends. You really should put in a battery cable end where you heat a pellet in there, or you crimp and heat and shrink wrap some insulation on it, so you don't have a place for that corrosion to get going, and you don't have a voltage drop there. So better off to do it right, or leave it to a professional that will do it right.
You know, this time I drove to work drove here this morning, and of course it was foggy.
Yeah.
And there were some cars that didn't have lights on. They were still sort of not darkish, also darkish, but some cars didn't have lights on. And then you have fogged windows.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't see the other cars, especially if you met a car that was white and didn't have the lights on. It's hard to see.
It's been quite a week going from 100 degrees to,
right.
I mean, what is it this morning, 40-something. So, and so challenging, a little bit of extreme driving that takes different circumstances. So what Matt is getting at is, when you're in weather like we have right now in San Luis, you should have your headlights on.
Yep.
A clean windshield.
Right. And not fogged up side windows.
So have a squeegee in your car.
Oh, yes.
Or a chamois.
Yeah.
Or something like that, where you can clean your window, put your defroster on, start using some of the things that you haven't been using in a while. It's a different set of circumstances.
I was just going to say, too, I had the same problem coming in on 227 this morning, and I passed a couple of cars that were white.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hardly even see them until the last
visibility.
couple of seconds. And then one of them was like a really kind of a short, small car.
Yeah.
Like an MG or something. Maybe not an MG. I don't know. But it was really, I mean, I just didn't even see it until like the last couple of seconds. And so it's not like the reminder is that you may be able to see fine, but other people cannot see
that's
you.
right. Yeah.
So when when you get in your car, it's important to be thinking about what you're doing, instead of just get in and go mindlessly. So, think about it. Okay, I'm driving out. It's foggy. Nobody sees me. I'm going to turn my headlights on.
Yeah.
I'm going to clean my window. I'm going to, take it as a serious, what your car is, which can be a pretty destructive thing if not used properly. And so these are the things that we talk about on the show that are important. Hey, let's talk to John from Paso. Hi, John.
Yeah, hi. I talked to you earlier this morning regarding my Lexus with a 8-speed.
Yes.
I had an additional concern, is that when I'm downshifting, any car behind me doesn't realize that maybe I'm downshifting because the brake lights aren't coming on. How much of a concern do you think that might be?
Well, I mean, if you're downshifting, the purpose of downshifting is more to keep yourself at the correct speed instead of reducing your speed too much.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're really coming from, let's say you're trying to go from 85 to 65, then you do want to use your brakes also. I mean, so you would be warning that person. So really, if you have someone on your tail, you do want to tap your brakes. And so, your point is well taken, because what you're doing is you're deciding, okay, I want to maintain the proper speed or even slow down just a little bit. And, especially coming down the grade, have that concern. So you don't want to be in the fast lane when you're doing that, obviously.
Well, the thing is that you don't downshift actually to slow down. You're driving the speed limit, or you're driving about 65, 70 miles an hour, and you probably want to drive that even down the grade.
You want to maintain that speed.
You just sort of want to maintain it without using the brakes.
Yeah. But you're right. But you're right, because other people are going to be, especially going down the grade, other people are going to be going faster. And I like to tap my brakes twice real quick to let people know.
In city driving, I can come to almost complete stop without
hitting your brakes, right?
Yeah, right.
Especially with an 8-speed. Yeah. So your point is well taken.
That's kind of a concern.
It is.
Well,
So you're saying I should possibly tap the brakes at any time I'm downshifting?
It's all. I mean, you're bringing up a pretty darn good point, and that is that it wouldn't be a bad idea to design
an amber light
into that transmission when you downshift. It taps your brake light at the same time.
Well, no, it should have a special amber light.
Yeah.
On the back for that, so that not a red light.
Yeah.
But an amber light when you downshift.
Okay. Why that?
Well, so it's a warning light.
Yeah.
More so than.
But you're right. I mean, you're not using your brakes. You're using your transmission, and you're not warning the person behind you. And it's a good point. It's something that you have to probably tap your brakes. Unfortunately, and the way it is, you get a lot of tailgaters out there. I mean, we had the highway patrolman on here. He said that's the number one thing that they see problems with more than anything. It's just people tailgating and not having that understanding and that awareness of how dangerous that is.
Oh yeah, the one traffic coming into San Luis Obispo in the morning is unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think I'll use what you're suggesting.
John has brought up the loopholes.
Tap the brakes.
The loophole.
Won't have to be. They don't have to be applied. Just a tapping. Will notify the person behind me that I am slowing down.
Yeah, and send a little message to Lexus. Say, hey, think about designing a little brake light warning when people downshift. I think it's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very well. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Have a good weekend. All right. So we're the Motor Mouse. We're Matt and Jeff. We are here till 9 a.m. Talk with you about your car, really about anything that you want to talk about relating to cars. Matt brought up a really good point about this foggy weather. It's still socked in out there. So, put your lights on. Use your turn signals. Slow down a little. Make sure you got good visibility. Visibility is so important. And, it's something that you can do something about.
Yes. Shall we talk to Rod?
I think we should.
Fine. Pismo, Rod.
Hi. Conversation a little bit back was about the wide track Pontiacs, the late 50s and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was involved with engineering back then and car engineering. And basically, there were big, heavy cars with larger and larger engines.
Right.
And the old drum brakes.
Yes.
And so Pontiac was having trouble stopping the darn things. To get more airflow over the brake drum, they decided to move the wheels out a little bit.
Oh, that was the reason for the wide track.
And that caused, a lot of suspension problems because now the offset's wrong.
Yeah.
However, a marketing guy saw the wider wheels and said, hey, wide track.
Yeah.
And it became a marketing tool that turned a negative into a positive for them. So
right.
But your comment about doing the special alignments, either front and back, because they increase the offset, which... from an engineering load standpoint, it's a bad thing. So,
you gave gas on those big engines, and those torque on the rear wheels, they would pull those tires together in the front, but it was giving a toe in, and so they put toe out into the axle at the factory.
Yeah, well, basically the whole car was set up for a little different wheel offset than what they really went with, and I guess that's a tip for anybody that's changing wheels on a car is to make sure or just understand that if they make them wider or whatever, there's going to be a price to pay there. They're moving away from the design ideal.
Right.
Yeah, it's very, very smart. We see all of these cars that are the trucks that are raised and the people putting different size tires on it. And, all the millions of dollars of design that went into the car, you just threw out the window.
I agree with you. But, this was very nice of Rod to take and call and tell me about that. Because I had I thought that the reason for the white track is because that's what the people wanted, but there was a reason for it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, well, you enjoy your show and have a good day there.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Rod. Hope we hear from you again. Thank you for calling. Hey, let's talk to Peter in AG. Hi, Peter.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
No, I'm doing well, doing very well. I had a question I was going to ask you guys about a motorhome that I was working on.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay, my brother-in-law, he's got this big old, and it's a Ford Econoline 350 front end, and it's got a motorhome part on the back of it. He doesn't drive it often enough. And last time I was out there, I went and I replaced the fuel pump and the fuel gauge. The gas tank was corroded up, had a whole bunch of rust in it. We had to dump it out and get it cleaned out and purged and everything. And being that this thing sits for a long time, I told him he's got to drive it more often.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the fuel, especially with the alcohol blend in it, it tends to absorb water, and it seems a lot more corrosive than it used to be back in the day. So what would be your guys' recommendation to keep the fuel from turning to turpentine almost? It smelled horrible. I thought there was two theories. Maybe keep the tank completely filled up, but then, again, you have all that fuel that goes bad after a while. You have to keep driving it and burning it. Or keep the fuel down lower and put something like Stable or Seafoam or something like that in. What would be your best guess on, keeping the fuel tank properly preserved without, burning up a ton of gas all the time?
Well, I mean, you just answered the question, and so I find that it's hard to get people. I can talk till I'm blue in the face to people that say you got to drive your car, and they don't. I mean, the people are such creatures of habit. And so but really the number one thing to do is to drive it.
Yes, absolutely.
Number one thing. So if he won't do it, get somebody else to do it.
Okay.
Hire a teenager to take it out once a week or get him a reason you take that. Where does he live?
He lives in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, okay. So is there a place like 30 miles away that he likes to go eat?
Yes, actually, he likes to shoot, so he could take the thing to the firing range.
Yeah, so find a way to talk in him. Okay, get it into your habit that
once a week you go shooting.
Every Saturday you take that van to go shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
right.
so somehow you create a habit that makes it better for him. So, more than anything else, it's driving it. And then, and then the other answer is Stable and putting more fuel in it. All of the above.
Okay. So now, should he fill it up and then just use it each week and then keep adding, or should he let it get low? I'm
the more gas.
Opinion. Sometimes if you let the fuel get too low, you get too much condensation.
Yeah, more gas the better. Fill it up.
More gas the better.
Yeah, fill it up with Stable. If you need the Stable, if he can drive it every week, you don't need the Stable.
Oh, okay.
If he can drive it just once a week, that's all you need.
Okay.
That does everything. And then don't forget that car does have a fuel filter, so it sounds like that fuel filter probably needs to get changed in that at least every 6 months.
Yeah, I already changed it once when I was down there, and we had to put a whole new, it had the inline fuel filter up. It has a multi-port fuel injection.
Yeah.
So I put a new fuel filter on that end of it, and I also opened up the little, there's a little Schrader valve on the fuel rail.
Yeah.
I opened that up and let the fuel pump run, probably about 10 times, you turn the key on and it cycles. So I dumped about almost a pint of fuel out the front rail.
Okay.
By so it wouldn't go to the injectors, at least that first part, and then I put a new fuel filter in line also.
He's lucky he's got his own personal mechanic, you.
Yeah, but it's a long ways to San Antonio.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, you charge more.
But the big answer.
He bought my plane ticket. It's all right.
The real answer is drive it once a week, more than any other answer. Yep.
The other thing, we'll add one thing. On the cars that I don't drive very much, I put high test gas in.
Got more cleaner in it.
Yeah, it got more cleaner, it got more in it. So on my
put premium in it.
Premium, yeah.
And then if it is going to sit for months at a time, then put Stable in it.
Right.
But if you're going to drive it once a week, you don't need the Stable.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, very good. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your call. Have a good one. Hey, let's go to Don in Atascadero. Hey, Don.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. We talked about the show yesterday, you and I, briefly when I came into your shop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, my question is about Ford transmissions, specifically in trucks and expeditions in the 2001 to 2005 range. That overdrive button, I have heard that it seems like there have been issues associated with it, people not using it appropriately. And to me, I've had a transmission guy tell me one time that you should just have the thing off almost all the time unless you're driving long miles and you're really in long straightaways where you're using those additional gears. And I've had a couple of transmission failures, even though I do keep my transmission service. I've had several failures, and I'm wondering what you guys know about that, or if you can comment on it.
I think that if your driving is around town driving, then I think it's fine to stay out of overdrive for that driving. You don't need overdrive at all if you're just driving basically around San Luis or wherever where you're staying, 45 miles or an hour or less. Mm-hmm. I think that's smart.
And then what about like the grade? I've had that. It seemed like the grade kind of tore up a transmission on an expedition that I had.
Downshift.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. If you keep it in overdrive, then the transmission keeps kicking in and out and in and out.
That's it. So what I do now is I just push the overdrive button when I'm getting ready to go up the grade.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, again, I've had people say just leave it on all the time.
No.
Where it's actually where the overdrive's off all the time.
Well, that's fine. You're just not going to get as good a gas mileage. I mean, the reason they have overdrive. You can, yes. That's like an older transmission that didn't have an overdrive. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you can keep it off, and that's fine. But, I mean, when you're traveling steady on the freeway, I'd rather be in fifth. Yeah.
Right. When you're on 101 or you're on 5 and you're going to be driving long miles. So that is accurate then. Okay, very good.
I agree with that.
That's my question.
The two things you do to save that transmission is exactly what you're talking about. Keeping it out of overdrive when you don't need it and changing the trans fluid every 60,000 miles.
Okay, so I can tell that consistent shifting, you don't want that thing going back and forth and back and forth. That's additional wear and tear.
That's what gets it.
That's what gets it.
Exactly.
That burns up the oil.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. Hey, let's go to Gary in Avila. Hi, Gary.
Good morning. How are you?
We're well. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, I got a 94 F-150. I'm the only owner, so I'm 23 years old, but I put about 100 miles a year on it, so it stays in good shape.
100 miles a year? Okay.
At the most.
Okay.
But in any event, when I go out to start it in the morning, it cranks up immediately. It just starts just as quick as you turn the key. And then if I drive it for maybe 20 minutes, half hour, and park it, and then I go out and try to start it, it'll barely crank. So, and then the third time I try it, maybe I'm going to a next stop, it won't even turn over. So I've taken it to 2 shops. Both of them changed the thermostat right away. And that didn't affect it in any way. And as of today now, I got the same problem.
So let me ask you a question. When that car doesn't start, what do? You put a jumper on it?
Yes.
Okay, so that gets it started. So you got a low battery condition, which has nothing to do with a thermostat.
No, absolutely.
So in other words, you're getting a low battery condition, which would lead me to believe that you either have a bad alternator or a charging system problem or a system draw problem or a starter that is drawing more amps as it warms up or something having to do with resistance in the wiring.
But, the thing is that the car starts the first time. Everything is cold and everything starts. And the battery at that time must be good. So why shouldn't the battery be good 10 minutes later?
Well, heat might have something to do with it.
Yeah, that's right. I think
it's probably not the battery. How old is the battery?
Well, I'll check that when I open it up here in about 10 minutes. But here's what I do then, so I'm not frustrated. What if I just bring it to your shop and let you guys take a look at it and fix it?
Well, that's what we do.
Yeah, right.
I know, but
you can do that.
I'd like to do because it's too frustrating to find transportation and not have it fixed and then die in the parking lot somewhere.
All right.
So I'd rather you guys just check through the whole system, tell me what the problem is, fix it, and then I'll be happy.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling, Gary. Hey, we better go to our second break of the day. I don't think we've done that, but we appreciate all these calls. It makes it a lot of fun for us when you all call. And so we're going to go to our second break. We'll still have time for a call or two. Phone lines are open, 543-8830. We're the Motor Mouths, and we'll be back.
Got a classic commercial from 1968 for the Firebird.
If you think boating is the great American sport for 1968, try this. Pontiac announces the great American sport for 1968, wide tracking.
Just you and me go wide tracking, near and far.
What's wide tracking? It's the difference between plain, ordinary driving and driving a car like this new 1968 Pontiac Firebird. Wide tracking is the way the 68 Firebird handles, corners, and maneuvers with a new improved ride you won't believe until you try it. And there are 5 Firebirds to choose from, all magnificent. If you think you're ready for wide tracking, the great American sport, see your Pontiac dealer. Or don't you want to make waves?
When it's time to service your car,
or a warning light is starting to glow,
go see the pros at Absolute Auto.
At the corner of Sacramento and Capitolio.
Having a problem with the brakes or the steering down below?
Or an alignment to adjust the tow?
Computer systems, they do know.
Call 543-8737 to reach Absolute Auto.
Your car's fuel economy was never better than when it was new. But time and miles have robbed your car of its MPG and performance. Service managers recommend BG44K to remove carbon and restore mileage in just 1 tank of fuel. In fact, dealerships nationwide use BG44K almost 3-to-1 over any other product. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com.
BG. Can you imagine selling your car next week and saying to the buyer, hey, don't worry, because the engine is covered against failure for life. It's called the Lifetime Protection Plan for the Engine from BG Products. Now imagine having this huge benefit free with your next oil service when you remember these 2 letters, BG. BGMOA is available at over 20,000 shops nationwide. Find yours at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. BG.
Okay, we're back. We're Matt and Jeff. We're the Motor Mouse. We are here till 9 a.m. talking cars, talking a lot of downshifting questions today and upshifting and all of that. And I think it's a good topic because people don't know about it and people don't think about it. So we like it.
I talked to a person that listens to our show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he also would like us in the morning at 8 o'clock to give a surfing report. To what kind of shape the waves are in.
I think we got the wrong show.
No, I think that's okay. I mean, if he listens to it before he goes down there
he can call in with a surf report if he wants to.
Well, yeah, I told him that, but he doesn't get a waterproof radio.
Okay,
that's the problem.
The surf report.
Yeah, surf.
Well, I know. I think there is a hotline that you can, or you can look on the internet, and I think it gives you a whole thing on that. He
says he surfs and he watches out for sharks, but he's not afraid of the sharks, and he's too lean for the sharks.
Okay, they're not going to want him.
No, he's too skinny, too lean.
Not enough meat on the bones.
That's right. But he was in good shape. He's not a young shape, but he's good, man.
That's good.
So, former owner of B&B.
Okay. Okay, so we were talking a little bit about driving in this fog, so be careful out there. Make sure you got your headlights on, you slow down a little bit, use your turn signals, clean your window. So, if you want to clean your window good, it's good to have a few tools in the car. A squeegee or a chamois, and then cleaning the inside of your windshield. We just cleaned the inside of Beverly's windshield the other day, made a big difference. It was nasty, dirty. So good visibility, important. And then, if you can't see well enough, then you have to slow down. Now, there was a bicyclist killed this month by someone that was driving into the sun. So if you're driving into the sun, or if it's too foggy to see, then you got to slow down. You have to drive safely. If you can't see, then you pull over.
Yeah. I was thinking about this morning. It's foggy like that, and you might have to get and go and clean your windows before you start.
Yeah.
Now, so then you're gonna maybe take another 3-4 minutes to do that, And so then you think, oh man, I have to get up earlier to do that. Oh, yeah, I don't have time to watch the television show, whatever. But the thing is, there's one thing that happens this time of the year. You have a time change. You're folding back. By other words, you don't have to get out of bed as early as you do now. You can sleep an hour later. So now you say, okay, I'm going to sleep 45 minutes more to now. Yeah. But I have that extra 15 minutes. Yeah. That I can use to clean my car, windows on my car, and then I can get in the traffic jam 10 minutes earlier, and the traffic jam is going to be smaller at 10 minutes earlier, so then you get to your work, and you're probably 5 minutes or 10 minutes early. Yeah. See, now you got time to organize yourself.
Early's good.
Yeah, and have a cup of coffee.
We always say the safest, the more than all of the safety things that we talk about, the safest technique for driving is to leave early.
Yeah.
It's the safest thing you can do. You just drive the speed limit, take your time, enjoy the drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I go to Santa Maria. I leave an hour and a half before my class. I leave at 8 o'clock. My class starts at 9:30.
So you get there a half hour early a lot of times.
Yeah, I get and that's just enough time for me to go and check if they have the mail.
Yeah,
and
get ready
and lay out whatever I have for the students and
brush your hair. All that stuff.
Definitely that.
Yeah, that takes a while.
That and the mustache.
Okay, hey, we're going to close the show out by thanking our callers, John and Brent and Rod and Peter and Don and Gary, for making this a great show. And, of course, our sponsors, BG Products. You can look them up at bgfindashop.com, featuring excellent products such as 44K, fuel system cleaners, induction cleaners, synthetic transmission fluids and gear oils. Absolute Auto. You can go visit Jason and Charlotte at the corner of Capitolio and Sacramento, featuring local, honest, professional automotive service and repair and alignments on regular cars or trucks. They can do it all there. Continental Motorworks. We are at 1101 Laurel Lane. You can reach us at 541-1464. Our hours are 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. And Bike Slow County, endorsing and advocating for safe transportation in our county, whether you be driving or on a bicycle. Be careful out there. Obey the traffic laws. If you're a bicyclist, obeying the traffic laws, stopping at stop signs, driving in the bike lane. If you're a car, you have the 3-foot rule, and just being aware of visibility and watching what's out there on the road, whether it be bicyclists or pedestrians or whatever. All right, so
I had a guy this morning on a skateboard going down Los Osos Valley Road and crossing diagonally.
Yeah,
and he had no directional signals,
and this kind of visibility,
no stoplights, no nothing.
No nothing. Well, have a good week out there. Write your Motor Mouth questions down for next Saturday morning. Matt and Jeff will be back to talk with you. Thank you. Have a good week.